It is another season of Wake Up the Echoes, presented by TireRack.com. I'm your host, Tony Simeone. If you weren't with us for Season 1, happy to have you for Season 2. Notre Dame, for some reason, allowed me to take on even more responsibilities this year as I get the amazing opportunity to call Notre Dame football games as well. So if you're not watching on TV, I recommend you listen on the radio. We've got 25 episodes coming up this season that I cannot wait for, and it's football season, so of course today we talk to head coach Marcus Freeman. You're also going to hear from his VIP today, which is new athletic director Pete Bevacqua, who's also going to join us throughout the season as well on Wake Up the Echoes. Had a great conversation with them about their dynamic and just about how they manage captains on a team. Covered a whole lot of topics between them as far as Notre Dame football is concerned. A little bit later in the show, was joined by my now new regular student-athlete football guest host. That's Isaiah Dunn. You'll hear from him a little bit later. He brought along Jayden this week, wide receiver for Notre Dame. Had a great chat with them about a lot of different topics along Notre Dame's campus, and then we played a really fun game that you're going to have to stick around to and listen to learn a lot about this football team's social media posts. Final guest on this show is Notre Dame former kicker Blake Grupe, who's off to a great start with the New Orleans Saints in the NFL. He's just kicking phenomenally for the Saints right now. They are 2-0, that big win over the Cowboys this past weekend. So it's so good to be back. It's a jam-packed show. Let's not waste any time and get to Coach Freeman and Pete Bevacqua. Coach, welcome back to Wake Up the Echoes. It's great to have you back on this set for the second season of this show, and you brought a great guest to begin this first episode.
He might have brought me.
Pete Bevacqua, great to have you as well. How has it been going here, first few months full-time on the job for you?
It's been great. I mean, I think I had such an advantage from last year with the transition period. And all credit to Notre Dame to be able to set it up that way, and to Jack. Jack was just so wonderful to me for those 8 months, and to see him on the job and just to get to know the staff over the course of that time. I knew Marcus before that, but obviously getting to spend last year with him when I was in that role, it just made this transition so much easier for me.
I want to talk about a topic you guys were covering before we started this. And I'll get all the Notre Dame football stuff and the documentary. We can catch up on how things have been going. You guys were talking about Sunday football. Is this a 5th and 6th grade football team that both of your kids are on? Is that what I picked up on? Can you explain to me what the dynamic is there with that team?
Well, as I see it, he's my insider because I'm not able to get to the games. And so I always ask Pete, how'd the game go? How'd the team do? I did hear they won, but he was kind of giving me the insight of the game.
What was the breakdown then? What's your evaluation? Have you had a chance to grind the film? How'd it go?
We're going to go over the film later tonight, Marcus. No, it's fun. It's a great program. And my son Jake and Marcus's son Gino are on the same team together, this 5th and 6th grade team. And I'm at the games with Joanna, and we compare notes, and it was a blast. It was hot. It was hot yesterday, but they had fun, and they won, so it was great.
That was something I was going to ask you both about, is just what Sundays look like, because my Sundays for like the last 30 years is watching NFL football. It sounds like yours is busy. You're getting ready for the next week. What does your Sunday look like as the head coach at Notre Dame?
The first thing I do is, I'll watch the film on my own first, and then I meet with the offensive staff. We watch the entire game. Then I meet with the special team staff, watch all the special teams plays. Then I'll meet with the defensive staff. We'll watch the game. And then meet with medical to go over injuries. And then we have a full staff meeting to just recap the game. And then after that staff meeting, it's kind of like move forward to your next opponent. For me, I take that time to kind of get the practice schedules done for the upcoming week. Anything I need to do to close the book on your previous game and move forward. But each staff on each side of the ball has already started moving forward.
And try and turn the page and get to Monday.
Right. That's right.
For you, Pete, now, I mean, it's first fall as the AD. I guess Sundays might depend on whether or not a team is playing, but what are you trying to have your Sundays look like, at least when you're not at the football game watching your kids?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go to every Notre Dame football game home and away. So if we have a team here playing and hosting for a different sport, I always try to get to that. And really just catch up. I think Sunday's such a great day to catch up, do a lot of that from home, but catch up on emails and everything else going on, because with Friday and Saturday, usually traveling, or if we have a home game hosting people here, Marcus and I usually text or talk to each other a couple of times over the course of a Sunday. But that's really kind of a great catch-up day, and particularly if we have other teams playing here on campus, to be able to get to those games and spend time with those student-athletes.
I want to talk about the Peacock documentary. I think it was such a great piece, the 2 episodes that came out before kind of previewing the season. And I want to start with you, Pete, just because of your background with NBC and kind of the value of something like this. I'm really excited to see the next episodes that come out at the end of the year, and I want to get into some of the specifics from the documentary. But just how valuable is it to have that content on Peacock and such a unique look behind the scenes of the football program?
Yeah, we have this wonderful 33-year-plus relationship with NBC. It's worked for NBC. It's worked so well for Notre Dame. It started when I was a student here at Notre Dame in 1991.
Yeah.
And when we were redoing the deal over the course of last year, with the streaming world being so important to the future and the health of these major media companies, and with Peacock being such a key asset for NBC, they really wanted to do as much as possible to grow the Notre Dame audience and the Notre Dame community on Peacock. So we have the one game each season that's exclusively on Peacock. This year it's going to be the Louisville game, which, it's a great game.
Yeah.
But they said, hey, if we can add more Notre Dame content, we can keep that Notre Dame audience. And whether that's, games from the past, but if Notre Dame was willing to give that Peacock audience really kind of an insider's look at the program.
Mm-hmm.
And it all started with a conversation with Marcus. I mean, obviously it had to be something he was comfortable with. And I think some of the comfort, and, you speak for yourself, of course, I think is the fact that we're doing it all in-house. It's being all done by Fighting Irish Media. And I've asked several of our student athletes on the football team, and they're all like, no, we love it. It's not invasive. And I think for Notre Dame, for our brand, and also for a recruiting tool.
Yeah.
When Coach Freeman and his staff is sitting down recruiting, I mean, here you're going to have your own network on NBC. And, oh, by the way, for the next 6 years, you're going to be a part of this streaming platform with this kind of hard knocks version of Notre Dame football.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great advantage for Notre Dame. And to Peacock's credit, they've kind of turned over the reins to Fighting Irish Media.
Coach, what's your impression been now that you're 3 weeks into the season? But I see the staff, and I recognize them too, because I know a lot of the people from Fighting Irish Media. There are a few more moving parts going on, but from the head coach standpoint, how have you liked having them around, and what's the experience been like for you?
Oh yeah, they're a part of the program now. You feel like they're a part of your staff, and it was an adjustment in the spring when they first started shooting, but I was assured that, listen, let's go all in right now, and you won't even notice them as we get closer to the season, and that's been the case. And they've done a great job of really being able to tell the story of our program, of our players. There's some tremendous stories that our players have to tell, and it's great. And the first 2 episodes were wonderful, and I'm sure as we get towards the end of the year, as they get ready for their next few episodes, they're going to be a great story to tell.
Yeah, the moment that stuck out to me was Jack Kaiser on the tractor driving it in his hometown, and there were people at Purdue, because he's an Indiana boy, that were talking about, they watched it and they saw it, and they were really proud of kind of how that came back and how it spoke to him and where he comes from. The other scene that I think stuck out to me, and you've talked about it a lot, and I want to kind of have this conversation with both of you, because I know captains are important not just to the football team, but kind of to the entire athletic department. As you guys came to find or determine captains, I think there's a clip in the documentary of them, you guys tallying the vote and figuring it out. What's the importance of captains for a football team? As the head coach, how important is it to identify the right specific people and the right number of people to be those leaders that represent your team?
I think it's so important, because they are truly, they're extension of the head coach in the locker room, but they're extension of the locker room to the head coach. And we meet weekly to go over previous weeks, what this upcoming week is going to entail. But more than anything, you're in a position where now you are required to, solve problems. You're required to say things to me that maybe you don't feel comfortable saying. And that's the platform that I try to give them, that you've been voted a captain. Here's the responsibilities of what a captain entails. And so when you're chosen as a captain, right, you have to understand you have to uphold these responsibilities and standards. And I couldn't be more proud of the 5 guys we've chosen as the captains.
So when you say you might have to say something you don't feel comfortable saying, is that maybe coming to you and saying, giving feedback on, hey, this is something we're seeing, could you consider maybe changing up the way we approach this period of practice? What are those conversations like, without getting into too many specifics?
Yeah, you give them that platform.
Okay.
Right. And last week we had a meeting, which is different, because you came after a loss and said, I want to know your thoughts, why we lost.
Okay.
What things didn't we do to prepare us to win that game? then I want feedback for coaches. I want feedback for me. And that's not always comfortable for them, but I said, I need this. I want this, and this is why you've been chosen. And so I think it's important that they have that platform. They're able to really speak from the heart and be able to tell us things and know that you're not going to be disciplined or yelled at because you're giving an honest opinion, because our players are so smart. Mm-hmm. They're really intelligent, and you have to be able to utilize that and give them a platform to do it.
Pete, I know you've met with the football captains, and I think you're making a point to meet with some others. Just from your vantage point as the AD, what's the importance of captains for all these sports on campus to represent Notre Dame?
Yeah, absolutely. This wasn't about just meeting with the football captains. We have 26 sports, 26 programs, and a meeting with the captains of each of those programs. I was mentioning to you before we started, I had the captains from the women's soccer team in the office early this morning. And it's, first of all, you learn so much from them. And what the message I give to each of them as I've met with them is, listen, it's an unbelievable honor to be a captain of a Notre Dame sport. I mean, that says so much about what your coach thinks of you, what your teammates think of you, but it's also an enormous responsibility. And you're going to hear about things, feel things, see things, sense things because you're around your teammates. Yeah. And I think, for instance, Marcus is sitting right here. As you use football as an example, that team has such a strong culture, and they're such a close-knit group. But individuals can make mistakes, or an individual could be going through something. It could be an academic issue, an athletic issue. It could be something they're dealing with at home. The captains, they're going to feel that and see that and know that. And we have so many resources here at Notre Dame. Like, as soon as we know about something, we can do something about it. And so I just think, there's going to be many instances where a young student athlete is going to feel far more comfortable going to his or her captain than they might to an assistant coach or a head coach or the athletic director. So it was really just getting that message across. Like, hey, congratulations. What a wonderful achievement. But with that comes an enormous obligation and responsibility.
I hear about captains and the importance that they have on a roster. The other thing I was thinking about coming in, and we talked, I think, before the game at Purdue. I saw you up in the press box. You mentioned that your family is now, they're out here full-time, right? They moved out. I want to hear from both of you because you've got the 6 kids and you've got 3. I'm a new dad and I've got a 13-week-old. So I'll be picking your brain a lot this year for parenting tips. But how important is it to have your family out here and be able to kind of, especially this first year, which I'm sure you had the benefit of last year learning with Jack, but now on your own in this role, just to have everyone out here kind of celebrate the ups and downs with him?
No, it's great. I mean, my kids are 16, 14, and 11. So, those are tough ages, particularly with a 16-year-old daughter to move across the country, to leave her school and her friends. So that's taken some time, but it's wonderful to be all together. Marcus knows this. Our house is about 3 or 4 months behind schedule, so we're jammed into a townhouse across the street from campus. I love it. It's like being back in college. I feel like I'm back in Soren Hall. But just to be around them and, to be able to go to their football games and to have them see the energy and the passion of this campus. I mean, one of the reasons I was so eager to come back to Notre Dame when I got the call from Father John is, I love Notre Dame. I love Notre Dame sports. But the idea of raising my family here, I told my wife, no place is perfect, but Notre Dame's a lot closer to perfect than any other place I've been to. And the kids sense that. They feed off of the energy of this campus and the students and the student athletes that are here.
Coach, I haven't talked to you a ton about it, but I've every now and then checked in. 6 kids. And is the last one, or the oldest one now, a senior or a junior in high school?
He's 16.
Okay, so you still got 6 in the house. Just year 3 as the football coach, 6 kids. That's still going the way it needs to go. Is it, you ever find yourself gasping for air? How's it going?
Yeah, there's no playbook for this. We have a saying around the house: little kids, little problems; big kids, big problems.
Oh, interesting. That's a good one.
Yeah, but they're on this journey with you, and I've always said this: my wife and kids will humble you more than anybody else, more than me, more than anybody else. Your wife and kids, because you owe it to them, right? We come home after a loss, you expect some sympathy, and not from my wife and the kids. My oldest daughter's like, "What the heck was that? What are you guys doing? What's going on?" But you owe it to them to be able to take that. I'm lashing out at them and not giving them that platform to speak to me about those things, and probably not the father and husband I need to be. And so they go through the journey with you. You try to be what each child needs you to be.
Mm-hmm.
All 6 are different. The 5-year-old boy needs you to tuck him in sometimes. He just wants you to tuck him in. Little 6-year-old girl, she's hard to describe. She's all over the place. But everyone needs you to be something different for that child, and you try to be intentional when you can and be that person. And you got to be a husband too, So it's a blend. I've always said that it's a blend, but we're figuring it out. We're making our way through it.
I would tell you one of the things that I love about the program with Marcus is he's made it such a family atmosphere.
Yeah.
So, Marcus is young. Many of the assistant coaches are young, and I told my wife this before she moved out here, like you'll go to a practice, particularly if you have like a practice in the stadium, and you see all the kids there, and it's wonderful. And Marcus will be walking off the field, talking to a player, talking to an assistant coach, and then boom, one of his kids is, jumping up in his arms. And it's just a great atmosphere. I think it's wonderful to see. I think it's also great for our student athletes to see that. Like, hey, this man who's our head coach, he's a dad and he's a father and he's a husband. I just think it sends such a great message to them.
I was going to say the same thing. I think you maybe mentioned it early on in your opening, one of your first press conferences, but when I've talked to players, they come in, your players, football players, and talk about Coach Freeman and like seeing him be a dad and the impact it has. It's something that doesn't get maybe talked about enough, just the impact you can have as a coach. What for you as the AD, isn't that kind of what you're looking for all your coaches, to be someone that their players are looking up to beyond just sports?
Well, yeah, especially at this level, right? I mean, we forget there's so much pressure on. I always tell us this: it's so hard to be a student at Notre Dame. It's that much harder to be a student athlete. But at the end of the day, they're all young men and women trying to figure things out. And you're a head coach, but Marcus is also one of their main role models. And to be able to see how he balances things and can be a Notre Dame head coach, which is, one of the toughest jobs in the country, and also a full-time father and husband, it's a credit to him that he can pull it off. But it's amazing. It's wonderful to see. And that's what makes Notre Dame Notre Dame. It attracts the right type of people who have their priorities in the right order.
The last question I had for you, Pete, is just about what it is like to now watch the football games as the athletic director, because you grew up a big Notre Dame fan. I'm sure you watched them very differently when you were a current student and then former student, but now that you're in this role, do you feel anything different when you're up there watching the games?
This
like
might
this?
come across the wrong way, so I apologize. I find no joy in Notre Dame football games, and I never have since I was 5 years old. It is just, I am so absorbed and so focused on it. So I think if many people were sitting in this seat, they would say, oh my God, it's totally different, Tony. Now, it's not different, because I've always been this way.
Yeah.
And now, I'm closer to it, but I've always been wired this way when it's come to Notre Dame football, so it hasn't changed.
You had to find some joy when Bevacqua was running down the field on the pick
when
six.
the score gets to a certain point, I kind of find some joy.
There's a lot of joy in West Lafayette.
My magic number is 24-point lead.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I'll look over to the box when they're up 24 next time.
Anything other than that, it's up in the air.
Is there any joy when you're coaching, Coach? I mean, I see joy on the sideline when it's going well, 66-7.
Yeah. Yeah, there's joy. There's joy when you see your players succeed.
Okay.
Right? And that's, you have to have passion. Mm-hmm. And you have to, I tell myself, and I try to remind the team, you have to find a way to enjoy this. And it's at times difficult when you have an upcoming opponent coming right here in 7 days. And so, but you have to enjoy the journey with the people that have invested so much into it. That's why Pete can't, really enjoy the game, because you invest so much into it. When you're invested and sacrifice, the highs are high, but the lows are low. And so it's hard to enjoy the moments of a game, but there's nothing like a happy locker room. There's nothing like being able to celebrate in the locker room.
It's like asking me if I enjoyed exams in law school. Right? You enjoy it after the exam.
Yeah, right.
You feel you did well.
I got you. Well, I'm looking forward to having you back again, talking to you more throughout the year. Pete, I think we're going to talk to you throughout the year as well. So it's good to obviously talk to you both this week, but I'm looking forward to also getting some parenting tips along the way. I'm going to need all of them from two veterans here. Last thing, before we go, we are going to sign this cooler provided by Yeti, and we're going to sign it, and at the end of the year, it's going to be auctioned off for charity. So I'm going to get you guys a Sharpie, and we can sign it to make sure that it goes up in value, as opposed to me signing it and having it go down in value.
Does that mean you're going to sign it too?
I'm not going to sign it, because it'll just plummet on the market if that happens. Okay? Guys, thanks so much for coming on the show. We're going to take a quick break and be right back.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Tony. Okay, new segment this year. Cooler Conversations presented by our friends at Yeti. I've got a special guest all season long, Isaiah Dunn. Thank you for coming. Good to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited for what we got going on.
And Jayden Thomas, you're here this week. Thanks for coming by.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, I'm excited to have Yeti sponsor this segment because it lets me do this. I get to pop open the cooler.
Oh, yeah.
You guys want anything to drink? We got Coke products in here. I got water.
I'll take a water.
I'll take a water, too.
Okay, water.
Yeah. Thank you.
We're good there. Okay, Isaiah, you're going to all year. You're going to kind of lead these conversations with your teammates. I'm going to jump in and out and bring kind of the millennial perspective to some Gen Z chatter here. But why don't you just take it away with JT, and I'll see what you guys want to talk about this week.
As Tony said, I'm Isaiah Dunn. I'm very excited to be here. But more importantly, I'm here with Jayden Thomas. He goes by JT.
Yes, sir.
This is my teammate, a wonderful guy, and I'm excited to have him on here with my first episode. So, JT, you are a guy that's very driven on and off the field.
Yeah.
As more and more I get to know you, you're a very team-oriented individual. And so I'm curious, has your drive been the same over the journey, and what has been your drive?
I mean, from a young age, when I first came to college, it was always just really my mother, my dad also, just the sacrifices they made, I would say. My whole life growing up, never had a problem with, struggling. Always in every sport, played baseball, basketball, football growing up, travel ball tournaments, 7-on-7 tournaments. They were always able to provide for me. So just, being able one day just to pay them back. And then also now I would say as one of those older guys on the team, leaders of the team, it's always team first. I'm not saying that it wasn't when I was a freshman, but just looking at it as a whole, I feel like I was somebody who, people start to count on me. They pay attention to my actions. So it's important for me to, always put the team first.
Do you find yourself, like, now that you're older, you feel like you have to be a role model, whereas you come in and you're just, like, bright-eyed and just, you said it wasn't all about you coming in, but, like, it sounds like your perspective's changed, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say, like, I'm this person who everybody needs to look at or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But I would say, I kind of have to carry myself, I would say a lot different than I did my freshman year. Freeman just talks about, there's like the seniors. We have a lot of seniors and everybody has a role. Okay. Not just the seniors, but everybody on the team. But I would say definitely my perspective changed of, how I carry myself in the locker room, just the maturity side of things. And not to say that I wasn't that as a freshman, but really just paying attention to it more, I would say.
What position, basketball and baseball?
Basketball, I was defender.
Defender? That's not a basketball position.
Yeah, but look,
that's an attribute.
I wasn't getting 15 points a game. I was getting like 2 charges a game.
Reggie Evans.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hearing.
Like
Beverly.
No.
P-Bev, crazy comparison. The baseball, I actually played shortstop, center field, third base, and I pitched a little bit. That was actually my first love, baseball.
Okay,
so I played when I was 4.
Yeah. So you said what? Shortstop, third base, center field. So up the middle, that's how you build a team. So
yeah,
I see what you're talking about.
And like I also, fun fact, I had a couple offers to go both ways in college.
Really?
Yeah, from Michigan,
really,
Arkansas, Georgia Tech offered me just for baseball to get me to go there.
Really?
So, yeah.
Did you think about it pretty hard? Or?
Yeah, I thought about it. I thought about it here, but academics here. I quickly realized that was probably going to be a little hard, so I just stuck with the football route.
You play any other sports?
I did. In high school, I played basketball, and then I ran
position.
Track. Point guard.
That's a position.
I played a position. Played point guard.
Here we go.
Big sports family, but really enjoyed it. I did not have any offers for baseball, so props to you. That's awesome.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
But you spoke about the leadership aspect of now that you're older on the team, you're an older guy. I look at you as a leader as well. Who, when you were a younger guy, would you say was a role model at Notre Dame or maybe in life in general that you looked up to the way we do for you now?
I can just talk about my experience here at Notre Dame. There's a couple people that stick out to me. Mainly, I would say Avery Davis. Mm-hmm. Just the way he carried himself, on the field and off the field. But the thing about AD is, like, he never really talked a lot. He was one of those leaders where it's like, when something's up, when he's mad at somebody, when things are going well, but he didn't really always express it. So it was kind of cool to see his, style of leading me, and also just the opportunity I had when I first started playing my sophomore year. redshirt freshman year. I played in the slot because he went down in training camp. So just to have him in my ear the whole time, telling me things to look out for, just preparing me for each and every game and all the situations. I really owe him a lot, I would say. So thank you to him. Thank you, AD, if you're out there listening to this. So, yeah.
He's like actually, I think, one of my favorite players to ever come through here. Do you know his whole story? Like about he was a quarterback recruit.
Yeah.
So I was at his recruit shoot for quarterback.
That's awesome.
Then
crazy.
he, I believe, transitioned to running
back.
Then they had him play defensive back.
Yeah.
Then he played receiver and actually had a ton of success and was maybe one of the best players on the field against Clemson in that 2020 game.
Mm-hmm.
The injury, like you said, was a bummer, but to me, he was, at least when Coach Kelly was here, they would talk about him all the time about being such a guy to like, the team might need you to do something different, and he was willing to do anything. He's a great guy. Like, his story is very emblematic of like doing anything you have to for the team, right?
Yeah, and again, his high school highlights at quarterback are insane.
Yeah.
Y'all should go watch if you haven't seen them.
Mixtape?
He was that boy.
He's a dog.
Yeah,
He
dog.
was a dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's nuts.
All right, that's cool.
So we all know about your football success, and it's been amazing watching you grow. I'm curious, in your journey, are there other aspects that you're pursuing, especially with the opportunities Notre Dame has given you, that you find yourself maybe pursuing in the future?
Certainly. I would say the main one right now, I'm a FTT major, film and television, with a concentration in television. In the classes we share together, we're a fun fact, we're in every class together. We're in an acting class. It's like a comedic acting class, and so just being able to act and be on camera. We're also in a news and broadcasting class. We're about to have to shoot like a little short reel introducing a story. So just being around the camera, I would say, is something I became very interested in just by my major, I would say, here at Notre Dame. And then I've always had a love for sports, soccer, football, hockey, baseball. I feel like I know a lot. So just getting all this knowledge, all this real world experience, I would say, at Notre Dame has definitely been helpful to my future, I would say.
You said you were interested in this stuff before you got to Notre Dame, or Notre Dame's really turned you on to FTT since you've been here?
It was a little bit of both. I mean, I always knew I wanted to do something in the sports field, but now that I became an FTT major, just the opportunities that I've been able to see, such as like sports broadcasting, maybe producing a sports show, getting behind a camera, little stuff like that is why you come to Notre Dame.
It's amazing, the resources, like you said, in the FTT program, but also like Fighting Irish Media. There's just so much stuff. I look at I used to work full time with Fighting Irish Media, and I try to tell the students, like, you don't realize the access that you have. Like, I did not have this when I went to school 10, 15 years ago, and where I went to school, no shots, but like, it's just amazing what you can actually do at Notre Dame if you really sink your teeth in.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back to what he said earlier. We have acting class together.
Okay.
He's phenomenal. I mean, he's great. He's hysterical. We have a great time. Riley Leonard's also in the class.
Riley's also in that class, too.
And it's so fun.
Yeah.
We have a blast in it. And
so what do you do in acting class?
Well, we do a lot. It's pretty random.
Improv.
We do exercises, improv. We write our own skits. And we perform. And there's been some hilarious moments in that class for sure. Shout out 13, our quarterback. His Bobby Boucher impersonation is spot on.
Spot on.
It was hilarious.
Okay.
He also has a great Kevin Hart skit that he did, and everybody in the class was dying. So yeah, we have fun, and it's pretty cool to kind of get out of that element and kind of relax and be like somebody else, I would say, than just like a football player.
So is your Kevin Hart a Kevin Hart impression?
So the assignment was to pick a skit that he's already done. So I got an on-screen, basically, video of Kevin Hart, and I had to copy mannerisms, change them into my own twist, but essentially say the same things he did, and how to match it. And that's what Riley did with Bobby Boucher, and it was so funny. I mean, we were done.
Did you have to do it too? Or no?
Yeah, I did another Kevin Hart.
He did Kevin Hart as well.
So you guys both did Kevin Hart.
Two different segments.
Two different standards.
You guys can't do it for us now. You can't do it. You can't recreate it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna.
I don't know.
Too many cameras.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys have a favorite stand-up these days?
Theo Vaughn, I've recently found on TikTok, and I love him. I think he's hilarious, and obviously Kevin Hart, I would say.
Yeah.
Me too. I would say Kevin Hart, absolutely. Are you a Starbucks drinker?
Am I a Starbucks drinker? I'm from Seattle, so what do you think?
Was Seattle known for Starbucks? I don't know.
Oh, boy.
I didn't get the
Gen Z, man.
Do you know something about Seattle and Starbucks? See, we don't
Is
know.
it?
I don't know. What
I
are
know
we
Grey's
talking
Anatomy.
Starbucks is like founded in Seattle.
Did you? I didn't get the memo. I didn't know. So I'm guessing you're a big Starbucks drinker.
Sure.
Wait, is this real?
Yeah.
It's a fact?
You guys didn't know that Starbucks is in Seattle?
I mean,
No.
I didn't.
Is that a thing that people should know?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a Seattle thing.
Yeah, I think it might be a Seattle.
I think I'm
what-
missing something right now. Something's going over my head.
I didn't get the memo. But, okay, the skit that I did was about Kevin Hart and Starbucks drinkers.
Yeah.
He wasn't a huge Starbucks drinker fan.
Really?
And so I did an impersonation of somebody ordering Starbucks. And so he goes into it. I'll give you a quick little segment.
Okay.
I have to get in character, though.
Yeah, please do.
Caramel macchiato. Caramel macchiato. Light ice, not heavy. If it's heavy, I'm not going to drink it. Tell him put a little bit of soy in it. Enough for me to go, oh, boy. That's all I got.
Oh, wow. That was pretty Kevin Hart adjacent.
Yeah, you should see all the mannerisms he does.
Yeah, I have to jump up in
Yeah.
the air, but we're not going to get into that.
Okay. Let me ask you, let me shift a little bit for you. Fourth year on the football field.
Yes, sir.
What have you kind of been focused on? I love seeing you the other day at Purdue. I thought you were moving around really well. Just like what's kind of been your focus going into this season? Because I feel like, there's so much great opportunity out there for you guys in this receiver room.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great to see you get involved. Just what's kind of your mindset been going into this year?
I want to say this year, mainly, it's just whenever my number's called upon, just to go and do my job.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Free emphasizes that, like, I would say every day. And so whether that's blocking downfield for J Love or JD to break out a long run or, getting open or clearing a route out for one of the tight ends to get open. So I would say just doing my job, playing selfish football, team first mentality, and, whatever it takes, I would say to, get the job done.
How hard is it? I've talked to other receivers, and to me, thinking about being a receiver, like the hardest thing is I have to go and I have to run routes, and I might only see the ball. I might only get, so many targets. I only get 2 catches at the end of the day. And you want me to go out here, run and block for 60, 70 snaps? It can be frustrating. So how do you adopt that mindset? Because I imagine that's not something that comes easy, especially when you're younger.
Yeah, I would say just this mindset of, team first. I don't want to sound repetitive, but
Sure.
it's I would say it's easy for somebody, to want to be a quarterback or want to be a running back when you literally get the ball handed to you. There's a lot that can go wrong for us as a receiver. The quarterback could get sacked. The quarterback could, throw it to somebody else who's not open. Something other like play call. But, I feel like receiver is one of the most selfish positions because a lot really has to go right for you to get the ball, and a little can go wrong for you not to get the ball,
right.
Which is kind of the cool thing about it is, just when your number is called, you got to make that play because, there's a lot of eyes watching you, and they don't really know, like, what went on for that play to work or happen. So it's kind of cool to see how, like, everything, I guess, intertwines together for me to make a play.
There is something, this will go back to your baseball background. So always have the baseball coaches that would say, if you hit the ball on the ground, they got to catch it, they got to throw it, and they got to catch it again to get you out, right? Mm-hmm. 3 things have to happen.
Yep.
If you hit it in the air, all you got to do is catch it once. So hit the ball on the ground. With a pass in football, if you just think about it, so many things have to go right to complete the pass.
So many things.
Have to have a clean snap. Maybe it's play fake, clean play fake, good protection, run your route, and then maybe 3 other guys run the route that gets you open, and then you got to bring it in. Exactly. So like you said, you got to capitalize on that moment because it's a lot different than just zone read.
Yeah,
right?
A lot different, yeah. But, I love it. I feel like a lot of receivers get this rep of being divas or whatnot, but I mean,
you're trying to break the stigma.
Yeah, we're trying. We're running routes every play and blocking our butts off. So
no, they do a phenomenal job. Especially, it reminds me of when Coach Freeman talks about in our meetings, team glory versus individual glory, and you guys blocking downfield is just doing your job, winning that interval on every single play, and that team glory aspect that you keep talking about is what wins in the long run, instead of just worrying about your stats, which I think you do a phenomenal job of representing that on our team.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and come back with a really fun game.
Let's do it.
All right, guys, here we go. New segment this year. It is called Spinning Your Wheels, presented by our great friends at TireRack.com. We have a new prop this year. It is the Tire Rack Wheel of Activities, is what I'm calling it. There's 6 things that we can end up doing today, and it's going to depend on what Jayden spins. We either have a draft, this or that, impersonations, finish the quote, know your teammate, or who said this. Okay? A couple of these are shorter, so there's a chance we could play two, but let's just start with one. We'll see how far it goes, and then we'll go from there. I'll explain it once we find out where we end up. Jayden, why don't you do the honors and spin our wheels.
I'm honored.
Who said this? Who said this? Okay. So what I have here is I have Instagram captions from members of the football team. I'm just going to read the caption.
Okay.
You'll go first. And then Isaiah, we'll see if you want to jump in for some input if you're struggling to get who said this, as in who put this caption on.
All right.
And these are all posts that came after the win against Texas A&M. For some context. So you got to go back about 2 weeks now. Think about who was lighting up IG,
right?
Who was really in their bag on their story. Okay, here we go. All caps. This is all caps. Now here comes the post. Backlit.
Bo Collins.
That's what I'm talking about.
Come on now.
That's good receiver room right there.
Yeah. That's my dog.
Wow.
I got a good one.
That was a good one.
That was quick. That was impressive. Okay. No caps. This is just normal spelling. Stay in the moment, comma, Joshua 1-9.
This could be a lot of guys. Right. A lot of guys. Did he post? I'm going to go with 13, Riley Leonard.
Incorrect. That's all your teammates here.
Okay. Let me stay in the moment. Howard Cross.
Incorrect. I'll give you a hint.
And we need a hit.
Third phase.
Special teams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
Final answer.
Final answer, Mitch Jeter.
You got it.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's my fault, Mitch.
You can never forget about the guys on specials.
Yeah.
So important to be all good.
Definitely commented on it, too.
Yeah, we definitely.
Yeah. You commented on it? What was your
Definitely.
comment?
It's probably a heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the go-to.
Yeah. Safe.
Safe.
Yeah. Can't get in trouble. Okay. All right. Now this one's, okay. Normal spelling. Paid in full.
Oh. That boy, 8-ball. Don Schuler. Come on, Twin.
Yo, you already know it, Captain.
Yeah.
He played well in that game.
Yeah.
He was
and the crazy thing, he already told me, he was like, JT, if I get a pick, I'm doing the Johnny Manziel. I said, oh, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good move there in front of 107,000. Yeah. Don Schuler, you are correct. So you know your team ready. Okay, this last one is not from this Texas A&M game. We're actually going to go back about a year. So it's like a notable event that led to this, okay? This is from July 6th, 2023. Is Twitter in shambles because of threads? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Don't look at me.
You talking about threads?
Yeah, Threads was hot. Remember?
I ain't been on Threads in a minute.
I've never looked at Threads.
No, Threads was popping at one point. I swear it was.
Can you say it again?
Yeah, sure. Is Twitter in shambles because of Threads? 3 question marks.
Not 1, 2, but 3 question marks?
Let's think about.
As someone who really wanted to know.
Yeah. Who's intrigued by that? Thinking defense. Who was
Yeah.
the first one? It was Mitch. We had special teams. The other one was Bo. That was offense.
Well, we've been through every side of the ball.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a hint. You want a hint?
Yeah.
Offense.
Could be 50 players.
Okay, receiver.
Oh.
Receiver?
Is this you?
Wait. Is it me?
It's Jayden Thomas. Jayden Thomas. Jayden Thomas on July 6th thought that Threads was the new place to go, and you just admitted here that you have not been on Threads in a minute.
My fault, Threads. Instagram, I still love y'all, but I think Twitter gonna be Twitter. Yeah, I did. Yeah, Twitter.
I'm happy.
No way I said that.
It's an amazing time capsule, right? You're like you thought it was all over.
I did.
And it stuck around.
Yeah.
Went through like 10 people.
Yeah.
Notable.
That was fun. That was a good first game. I really enjoyed that. Jayden, thanks for stopping by.
Yes, sir.
Great to meet you, talk to you. Isaiah, looking forward to more conversations with you throughout the rest of the year. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're now joined by a very special guest. Blake Grupe, Saints kicker, is with us, former Notre Dame kicker. Blake, thanks for joining us. I want to ask you a bunch of questions about how the season's gone so far. Obviously, great 2-0 start, but I made sure to hit record on this recording before we got into what I'm most curious about. And I don't know a ton about the NFL weekly schedule specifically for a kicker. So what is on your to-do list today, which is a Monday when we're recording this, for an NFL kicker?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. But oddly enough, my day's done as a kicker in the NFL on a Monday. We had a team meeting starting at 11 today, but I showed up about 8. Did some treatment bodywork stuff. Got a lift about 9. Hopped on a massage table about 10, and then a meeting about 11 till team meeting till about 11:20, and then special teams meeting till about noon. And next thing you know, I'm talking to you guys on the podcast. So that's my Monday, and that's kind of our normal schedule for me. But some of the rest of the guys are in offensive, defensive meetings for probably another hour, and then give us some time to do whatever body work we need to the rest of the day. And tomorrow's an off day, and back attacking Philly on Wednesday.
How are the vibes right now in New Orleans? Obviously 2-0 start, averaging 45 plus points per game. Just how's it going down there right now? It has to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's off to a great start. Everybody across the board, up and down the organization, is doing their job right now. And obviously the vibes are high. Being 2-0 and winning the last 2 games like we've been able to is it's a great feeling. You're just trying to keep it rolling, and you enjoy the win for 24 hours. But today we're making corrections and everything we need to do, and Wednesday we're on to Philly at home, back in the Dome on Sunday.
Can I ask you about New Orleans? Because I'm thinking about it now. I lived in New Orleans for 1 year, and it was 2011-12. I think they made a pretty deep postseason run there. And so all I remember from that year was that when the Saints are doing well, that city is electric, and they just love the Saints. What's your experience been like living down there and playing for the Saints?
Yeah, I really enjoy New Orleans. Just being from Missouri, and a smaller town. I'm not used to having a whole lot to do other than I guess sports. It's kind of what I grew up on, and but I mean the city loves the Saints more than anything else, and I mean the support we've gotten these last 2 weeks already has been pretty special. I just watched a video a second ago of a bunch of New Orleans fans in Dallas yesterday, and they took over a street. They had tubas, they were second line in. It was like a parade, and we've only played 2 games this year, so if we play well and you love this city, they'll love you back.
It kind of feels like it's like the college football town of the NFL sometimes, the way I look at the Saints when I watch it down there.
Yeah.
You're 5 for 5 this year, kicking field goals, right? I think you hit a 57-yarder maybe last week. Just what's been the biggest key for you and your success? It's been so fun to watch here in South Bend to see what you've done since you left, but how have you been able to be so consistent and accurate to start this year?
Yeah, I mean, we're scoring a lot of points. So, whether it's field goals or extra points, I've, we're off to a fast start and a lot of reps. But, going into year 2, I feel a lot more prepared. I know what to expect week to week. I know what it takes to, from a mental side and a physical side to be ready to play on Sunday. And when you have a snapper and a holder like I do right now, that are, doing a really good job and putting it down the way I need it, it allows me to have success. So, you just take it 1 week at a time and just take what's given in front of you, whether it's a PAT after a 70-yard touchdown or whatever it is, a 57-yarder, or I think yesterday was a 26. You just take them one at a time, and you just don't look too far ahead and don't look behind, and just keep going.
I want to ask you about your time at Notre Dame. Obviously, only one season here in South Bend. It was a couple years back, but just when you reflect upon your time in South Bend and getting to kick and go to school at Notre Dame, what are kind of the memories that flood to your mind when you think about your experience here?
Yeah, it was a huge step up for me, a huge learning experience, and will forever be grateful for my time at Notre Dame, because it really helped prepare me to do now what I've been able to do, is win a job last year and continue to play it at a high level in the NFL. You don't realize how good you got it until you do. You don't realize what you're missing out of until you got it as well. So. Just being able to come into Notre Dame and be supported from day one. I went through a lot of learning experiences there. By no means was I perfect at my time at Notre Dame, but It really allowed me to learn about myself and learn what it takes to go into a new organization or, a new school, new coaches, new competition, all of that. I was able to come into Notre Dame, do it for a year, figure out, what works, what doesn't, and then, got an opportunity to sign after the draft and was able to really kind of run through that same exact process here in New Orleans. And here we are now. So forever thankful for what I was able to, the experiences I was able to get and go through at Notre Dame, because I'm not sure I'd be, where I'm at now if I wasn't able to go through some of those, at my year at South Bend.
You mentioned the resources and opportunities. I guess I want to know just what specifically, when you were here, what did you get to do that you think really did allow you to kind of take those steps? Like, what did Notre Dame provide you in tangible resources that helped you take your kicking game to a level where you could go be a viable and now really successful NFL kicker?
Yeah, being able to just, being put up on that biggest stage. Everywhere we went, it was somebody's Super Bowl, and just like it always has been, And so being used to being on that stage, that helped. But also coming in and having all of the resources in the weight room and from a nutritional side, and just little stuff like just getting gear and a lot of those things that we did get at Arkansas State, but not at the level we did at Notre Dame, and just the support, the people you meet. And just, that sense of belonging and playing for something a little more than yourself, and being out there on the biggest stage is, you don't get that many places, and I'm sure glad to have got it, and with Notre Dame.
You were here, and of course, a really interesting season. It was Coach Freeman's first year. Just what were your takeaways, obviously, from playing for Coach Freeman when he was a first-year head coach? And just what kind of comes to mind when you think about that experience playing in the 2022 season while you have a first-time head coach kind of learning on the job? It was a fun season to watch you guys just kind of evolve throughout the season as well.
Yeah, I still, talk with Coach Freeman, to this day. I mean, he'll send me texts of, just watching on TV or, looking forward to, watching you and congratulating us on winning a job again, because, you never look, every year is its own up here. And, but, just having a coach like Freeman that, makes every single player, up and down the program, feel like, they're important, and, that their role matters, and that he, really cares about you. It was a big thing that I walked in day one and noticed, little stuff like going up and down stretch lines before practice, and giving everybody a little high five, handshake, pick me up. That little thing right there, is just, is a testament to him and the support he has for his players. And, we know that, he has our backs, and you can talk to him like a friend, and don't get me wrong, the respect level is there, but, you don't have to be afraid to go talk, and have a connection with your head coach. I mean, he's there for us, and makes you want to play for him even more.
The last question I have for you is just about maybe your top memory here in South Bend. It could be off the field, it could be on the field. Just when you think back to your time with Notre Dame, what's like the number one thing that you reflect on positively in South Bend?
Yeah, I would say three things come to mind.
Okay.
One,
three. You can have
three short ones, but one, when you first time running out of that tunnel at home to a full stadium, don't take that for granted. There's not many places that pack it out as consistently as we do, and with those fans, I'll never forget that. Two, I'll never forget playing in Vegas against BYU at the Shamrock Series my year. That was pretty special. And then, what my first thing that came to mind was actually my senior day. And we played Boston College at home. I think it snowed maybe a couple inches in the third quarter. I never played the snow game. I remember I had the big trench coat on the sideline. That's one of those things that, you want to do as a football player. And I think we beat them 44-0. I had, I think, one or two field goals, a bunch of extra points. Just playing in the snow like that was, and to be my last, game in Notre Dame Stadium, that was something I'll never forget. And still talk about to this day when people ask me, they'll ask, weather-wise or, just the same question, like, what do you remember from Notre Dame? I mean, that's usually what I tell them.
Senior day has gone well in South Bend the last couple of years, so those are fun games to watch for sure. Blake, thank you so much for taking the time. Congrats on all the success this year. 2-0, keep it up, and keep kicking those field goals, making us proud here in South Bend.
Will do. Thank you guys for having me.
That does it for this week's edition of Wake Up the Echoes, presented by TireRack.com. Thanks again to head coach Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame Athletic Director Pete Bevacqua for stopping by. Thanks to Isaiah Dunn, as well as Jayden Thomas and Blake Grupe for joining the show as well. You saw it throughout the episode if you're watching along on YouTube. We've got this amazing Yeti cooler that everyone that comes in is going to sign throughout the season. It'll be auctioned off at the end of the year, so just keep an eye out. There will be more information for that cooler when we do have everyone sign it by the end of the season. Should be a great collector's item for whoever does ultimately get a chance to get their hands on it. We'll talk to you next week on Wake Up the Echoes, presented by TireRack.com.